If there is a burning ember in the frozen earth, it is the spine of words. One awakens while being agitated. The moment one is touched by passion, one's own contours become transparent, as if the purer one's desire is, the closer one's will is to translucence. The more pure the desire, the more transparent the will becomes. It is almost logical, calm, and illusorily lascivious. A clear emotion sometimes pierces the flesh more deeply than a murky passion. For example, it is an exquisite assertion disguised as an ambiguity, generated by the angle of a single glance or fingertip. We are attracted by the density and drown in the paleness. When you dismantle the dense, what remains is only degree. Emotions sharpened at the edge of reason. It is the same as how to diminish passion. The art of sensation is the management of the concentration of the soul. It is the art of stirring, seducing, pulling, and retreating. In the name of all seduction, only the last drop is left. It was so close, but out of reach. That is brilliance. And we know. We know that the palest of things linger on the palate, like the bitterness that melts on the tip of the tongue, like the space between the lines of unspoken words, like the memory of skin that was never touched. It is when an ice blade named emotion crosses the depths of our hearts without a sound. This world is a delicate mosaic of fragments of consciousness and pale passion that should be captured with a keen eye. The passion burns in a single blink of an eye, yet at the same time it is understated like an ink painting done in thin ink, and yet it is profoundly aesthetically pleasing. It is not a blatant revelation, but rather a mirror reflecting supreme intelligence that dares to maintain a bland expression. As the wind mindlessly whispers frank expressions of emotion, we surrender ourselves to its brilliant sensuality and smile at the mysteries of the lives that lurk therein. The bland degree indicates not an overabundance of emotion, but a calm and subtle ethics that is surely felt deep within. Occasionally, reason cuts off reality with its sharp blade, and a brilliant intellect speaks quietly. The moment you accept the breath of sensuality, you step into a complex inner garden. There, the bland aesthetics resonate with intense passion and, guided by the melody of its fleeting but sure light, unearth the emotional gems hidden in the corners of the heart. The brilliant sensuality quietly appeals to one's truth behind the facade of blandness. It is in this moment of awakening in a delicate balance that all the meaning of everyday life is condensed and changes our existence just a little, but certainly. Like a shard of glass polished by the moonlight, it snatches at the ends of our nerves. It is a brilliant sensation, but the colors are surprisingly pale. It is like an afterimage left on the retina just after waking up from a dream of extreme colors, or like a silent theater after the height of the frenzy has passed. A flame that shakes the soul and makes the blood boil. Here is a sharpness that is rather icy than fiery. It is more like the chilling glimmer of ice crystals reflecting the light. It delicately stimulates the folds of the senses, but it does not ripple the lake of emotions. It is a slight friction, similar to the shifting of silk, that caresses the surface layer. This paleness is nothing like indifference or insensitivity. Rather, it is a kind of defensive mechanism that has arrived at the end of excessive sensitivity. Or it is the quiet gaze of a person who has seen through the ephemeral nature of sensationalism and its emptiness, and has reached a state of mastery. It is as if one does not throw oneself into the whirlpool of intense emotion, but calmly observes it from the shore. This may be similar to the wonder of the blank spaces in ink paintings. As deep meaning and infinite expanse are implied in the parts that are not depicted, this bland sensation speaks volumes without saying much. It gently points to the nuances of unspoken emotions, the amplitude of consciousness that wavers between reason and sensibility. We tend to always seek rich flavors. We are captivated by easy-to-understand emotions and intense stimuli. And in this flood of sensation, we lose sight of what is lost. Just as our taste buds become numb and unable to perceive the subtle differences in taste, our souls also lose the ability to respond to the subtle echoes. The faintest degree of brilliant sensation. It suggests a new place for sensibility in our saturated age. To listen carefully to the silence on the other side of the incendiary voice, to gaze at the pale shadows lurking behind the gaudy colors. It is sensational, yet cool to a fault. It seems to be heated, but in fact, it is awakened. On top of this paradoxical balance, there is a blade of recognition that exists dangerously but surely.